I would say number one is just remember God is the source.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wealth in Christ Show, a show where we inspire the masses to become financially free while building God's kingdom. On the show today, we have Miss Kelly Baader. Miss Kelly is a certified business and leadership coach who specializes in helping Christian business entrepreneurs build profitable business. Miss Kelly is also the host of the Christian CEO podcast and the author of an Amazon bestseller, Little Girl Called Grace. And she's the founder of She Inherit LLC, a kingdom advancing leadership development company that empowers Christian-centered entrepreneurs to elegantly grow and scale their business. So thank you for being here today.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
And in this episode, we'll discuss Ms. Kelly's success as a business coach and how she helps people build profitable business. So to get started, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
That's good. So to start the question, my first question is, what inspired you to become a certified business and leadership coach for Christians?
Well, years ago, when I started my business, and I did not start just only for Christians. It's from the beginning because my corporate background was the executive for hospitality industries. I always have a love for people and to serve people. So later on, when I start my own business, I thought, well, what is a better way if I can coach and consult people, and that can add the most value for them. And so that's how I started get myself certified with ICF, which is the International Coach Federation. And also later on, I become the first batch with John C. Maxwell. That's about 12 years ago when he started the John C. Maxwell team.
That's good. And, being the fact that you've been a business coach for a very long time, I want to ask, what are some lessons that you have learned being in business for almost 12 years plus?
Well, there's a big question because there's so many lessons I have learned. So is any specific area that you want to know?
Like 3 lessons that you think that, Christian entrepreneurs, should learn from that you learned in your year of experience.
I would say number one is just remember God is the source and the rest are resources. And I think a lot of times nowadays it's a little bit dangerous that I saw that so many business coaches and consultants, they call themselves kingdom leaders. And while how they guide people, not necessarily it's they almost put themselves as the source rather than point to God is the source. So I think that it's one of the most important thing. I think I feel like that's one of the most important things. And the second lesson, I would say, entrepreneurship is one of the best and probably toughest personal development journey. So you need to know that it's not just sometimes when we see online a lot of people, they show it's about time freedom, about financial prosperity, that type of things. But really, like you don't know whether what kind of price they have paid to get there. Well, assume whatever they show is real. That is the first thing. And so and that brings to the third lesson I want to share. It's, please don't compare your first step of the backstage with other people, maybe it's a 1,000 step, the front stage, then you will always feel like, the imposter syndrome or overwhelmed, why I'm not there yet, and feel bad about it. Just know that, your journey is your journey. It's not other people's journey, right? It's just one day if we stand in front of Jesus, he will not say, hey, Kelly, why you did not do what I asked Dummy to do, right? And vice versa. So keep focus on what God has called you to do and kind of put a blinder on rather than compare yourself to other people.
Now that's really great, some great advice. But I want to specify. I want you to go more into detail into the first lesson, where you mentioned that a lot of Christian entrepreneurs, they oftentimes they become the source and they don't point people back to God, who is the source of everything. And I want to ask, how can people avoid, falling into that trap or making that mistake of having people think that they are the source compared to God?
Well, I think fundamentally yourself need to have close relationship with God. So you will hear his voice. And so when you receive so many different kind of information online, for example, then you're gonna bring it front of the Lord, say, well, help me to make decision, right? Help me to see which voice is aligned with your in-season assignment, right? That's another thing. Everybody is in different season of your life, and everybody's the assignment of each season is different. So for example, like my children is already over 20 years old. The way I run business today is very different when they were toddler age, right? So my each season of my assignments it's different, and the profit model is different. So you need to have the solid foundation. It's you need to have a relationship with God, and then you playing with God about what is your this season, what is your business model should be, what your in season assignment is. Because I think Christian we love to talk about God's grace and favor, but I always remind my audience or clients, God's grace, favor, and wisdom only comes with your in-season assignment, not your past season, not your future season, but in this very season.
That's very true. And being that said, I want to kind of go back and take you back in time, and talk about this experience you had on your 50th birthday, where you heard the Lord's voice in your kitchen, and ask, how did that shape your perspective on life and business? Having that encounter with God during that time.
I think obviously that is a very special experience, and it just kind of further deepen my relationship with the Lord, because I think put the business aside, I think the most importantly is that in that time, if you guys want to know what Dami is mentioned about, I think we can put that link in the show notes so they can refer back to the whole story. Then, while a lot of time when we are try to step our faith and try to believe for something or believe God for breakthrough, right? And we, because we are just human, right? So we are not necessarily strong in the spirit all the time. So that experience obviously is another is one of the experience in my walk with the Lord, really helped me to strengthen my relationship with him, no matter it's in the business, no matter it's in life, and for my family too, because my whole family, right, my children, my husband, we wrote that letter to the Lord, and after he showed up on my birthday, everything we wrote on the letter, everything came to pass in a very unimaginable way. So I hope this answered your question.
Yeah, so I guess, like from that experience, just to add on, just is there anything in particular that you took from it and you like, apply, whether it was like a word that you still live with to this point, that God told you through that time, or you teach to your clients? How do you relate that experience to your clients and your customers or the audience?
Well, that is a very personal experience. For me, fundamentally, all the time, I always, ask my clients, and when they are in the process of working on anything, I always say, what did God say? What did God say to you? Right? Uh, even when we go through these, no matter we are working on their offers, no matter we're working on their message, right? Obviously, we go through a very specific process to help them to take inventory of their life experience and expertise. And even in that process, I always say, please find a quiet moment and do this exercise. Invite the Holy Spirit while you're doing those exercise. So with or without that experience of that kitchen story, that's always how I live my life, and that's how I do my best to guide the clients which God had brought to me. But I want to be clear. I want to clarify I'm not saying that my face is perfect. I'm not saying I never made mistake, which is totally not the case. I'm just saying today I'm 55 years old. After all these years walk with the Lord, in the end of the day, business or not, Christianity is a lifestyle. It's not a religion, or it's not a formula. It's not it's not like somebody else just put a box on it, say you just follow this step 1, 2, 3, and then you will get your result, or you will get your breakthrough.
You're 100% right. And being that said, I want to kind of go back to something that you mentioned earlier. You mentioned how that you didn't start it as a Christian business coach. If that's am I correct on that? You didn't start as
What I meant is, from the beginning, I wasn't called to serve only Christians. I have clients from all different kind of faiths or belief. But it's after that kitchen experience, and God obviously instructed after we relocate back to Switzerland, then I will need to start to put out a banner. And because as he mentioned that he want me to feed his sheep in the marketplace.
Oh, yeah. So being that's yeah. So thank you for the clarification. And I want to my next question was going to be, from your experience, what are some common misconception or mistake that entrepreneur makes, when it comes to building a profitable business, whether it's with sales, whether it's with marketing, how do you help them overcome those challenges?
Well, you're asking again a very big question.
Okay, so
They
I simplify. So I guess to start off, like, what are some misconceptions or mistakes the entrepreneur makes when you start to coach them that you realize that they make?
You mean when they just got started, or
And
when they
like just in general, like common mistake that you see from your perspective as a coach, whether it was a Christian entrepreneur or just even the entrepreneurs that you coached before you niche down to Christianity.
I think, I mean, there are all different kinds of common common, I wouldn't say common mistakes, it's just common way to do things. I think one of it, it's they don't know how to articulate the value of their offer. So a lot of time it's not like they don't have value to offer. And obviously then that link to a lot of people, they don't know how to price their offer as well. So these kind of link together. What I mean is, if they don't know how to articulate the value of their offer, so oftentimes they will, undercharge, they put a lower price on their offer, right? Because we need to understand it's the value. It's you have to standing in your client's shoes and really understand that what is the number one transformation result your product, service, or programs can do for them. What exactly that is there is for their benefits. So for example, like if somebody is in the fitness space, right? Let's say lose weight, right? So if you just say, hey, I'm really good at helping people lose weight. Well, especially if you just get started and in this field, it's very competitive. As a new person come on the scene, you say, I can easily help you to lose 5-10 kilos in certain days. That might not be very attractive because you are put yourself against a lot of A-listers in your industry, right? But if you come out to say that I can help, maybe the new mom, right, to lose their, tummy fat in 30 days, and that become a whole lot more valuable for that specific group of clients, right? Then suddenly that all of a sudden that you can price much better just compared to formal that you say, I can help everybody lose 5 to 10 kilos. So in other words, just like kingdom principle is always about people. God's love is always about people. The more you can understand how you can serve well the people that God has called you to serve, then the better result you will have, and therefore the more money you will be able to make. That equal also to the more impact that you can create. So that is one of the most common situation that I have seen people struggling with. The other thing is, I think you need to be very honest with yourself. I always say the deeper self-awareness you are willing to accept, the faster you will grow. You cannot look at other people, the way they're doing things, and you just blindly model certain people. You don't know what they are, again, you don't know the background story, and yourself, you need to, what I mean is you need to really know what is your advantage and what is God called you to do in this very season. If you are not, let's say if you are a person not very good at writing, but you are very good at, creating videos, then it will be wrong for you to not creating videos and then you just go to create blog posts, right? And vice versa as well. But that's just a very small examples. Some people also are very good at front of a small group of people, right? Some people are very good at standing on the stage and, kind of want to mass audience, right? So you really need to know yourself. That's why I say self-awareness. And in this journey of entrepreneurship, actually, it's really a journey of self-discovery as well. Will help you to stretch yourself, and a lot of time, yeah, to step out of the comfort zone. But for the more is to help yourself that you really know that what you're good at it, and what some other thing is may not be great for you to do. So if I sum it up, you need to know yourself. And again, the more you know about God, the more you know about yourself. Because God will reveal you, because he knows a whole lot more about ourselves than ourselves. The second thing is, a lot of people, you need to learn how to articulate the value of your offer. And that will help you a lot in the positioning in the marketplace and the messaging and all that.
Hey family, I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. And if you are and you have yet to subscribe to us here on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. And also, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and you have yet to leave us a 5-star review, please do so. Now back to the episode. Wow. I definitely appreciate that, and I want to break this down for the audience and the viewers. And the question I want to ask, following what you just said, is, you mentioned kingdom principles, that is important for, people to understand these Christian kingdom principles. I want to ask, what are 3 kingdom principles that you can share that, every entrepreneur should know and apply to their business?
Well, this is again a huge question, because there are so many. I think everything what you do, you should base on kingdom principle. No matter it come to copywriting, no matter it come to sales, conversation, and no matter how you create content, right? The honesty and integrity in your content, everything, everything what you do should based on kingdom principle.
Okay. And could you share one kingdom principle that people should know, like people should be able to apply to their business?
I think, so for example, nowadays we are, I'm sure everybody is all heard of AI, right? A lot of people use AI tools. I think that's all great. I use it too. But sometimes the AI tool, what it produce, you cannot just copy and paste.
Yeah.
And then you just use as is. I think you still need to use your own human brilliance and wisdom to, review the content and then see that how align with your own voice, with your own calling, that type of things, right? And I think, again, AI is a tool. It's not you. It's not a human. God been telling me recently a lot about the more tools are gonna appear in the marketplace, and the more important is about our critical creative thinking. God created human, God created everything, but the main difference between human beings and animals and other creatures is we can think. But a lot of times, ruler of this world, the enemy try very hard and have been doing a pretty good job, is to try to stop us to think, because thinking requires a lot of work, right? And that's why everybody crazy about ChatGPT and all different kind of AI tool, because it can save the huge bandwidth of the thinking part, right? Yeah. But be really careful about, if you don't want to really be replaced by tools, then you need to still able to utilize the thinking skill that God has given to you. But if but the thinking skills, as I say, is skills. It's or a capacity. It will grow or shrink, depends on what you do with it. If you don't want to use it, then before you know it, you will feel yourself very dull. Then you will see other people are advanced further, and then you will just become a follower. But if you want to become a leader, then you need to, think and think further. Yeah.
No, you're 100% right. And I 100% agree with you that AI is a great tool that you can use to, further your business. And I feel like people should only see it as a tool to like help them, but it shouldn't see it as things to just, I guess, to help them be more lazy. You should see it as a tool to make you work harder, as a tool to produce more. Um, and being that said, going back to what you said, like the challenges that Christians or just entrepreneurs face in regarding to able to articulate their product, articulate, their value. I want to ask, what are resources that entrepreneurs can tap into or look into to better, yeah, to better help them articulate their value of their product or their service?
Well, there are so many books in the marketplace. I really cannot think of right now. I kind of went a bit blank. It's 9 p.m. here, so my brain is a bit tired. But I would suggest that, if you go to Amazon.com, for example, go to look for the books, not just about how to, position your product. I would suggest you also look for the books which help you to understand human psychology. Again, it's not about the product, okay? It's about the human who buy the product. So for example, if you are selling let's say baby bottles, I don't know why it just came to mind. Let's say you're selling baby bottles. They are all different kind of baby bottles there, right? So you want to kind of go to look for who buy the baby bottles. And I don't know what kind of baby bottles you have. Maybe, they are high-end baby bottles. They are, more average price ones. You need to think of, well, those new moms or new fathers, right? What are they thinking? Let's say you have a very fancy models of the baby bottles. You can have warmer, you have digitalized, whatever. You have the app to record how to sanitize that baby bottle. I'm just all make it up, okay? But I'm just using an example saying, then you need to think what kind of new parents will be drawn to this kind of bottles, right? Probably is maybe double income family, maybe because they are so busy, right? And maybe they are also those parents, they are more embrace the technology, right? Because you have an app to go with, right? Then you also have think, why should they, what are they going through as a new parents in their emotion wise, in their daily life wise, and all that, right? So you see, in that case, you need to go to find the books. It's about new parents. You need to go to find the psychology, the emotion, right? The feeling about the new parents. It's not about the baby bottles.
Yeah,
Does this make sense?
that makes sense. That makes sense. And I want to kind of like switch gear real quick and talk about the profitability, the revenue of like being able to generate once you have a product and once you have a message that appeal to it. You mentioned that people have a hard time with pricing. Um, and I want to ask, what is the best way to go about pricing in order for you to maintain profitability in your business?
This again is a very big question. I think there are, I would say pricing is just like marketing. It's the combination of science and art. Okay. So the science part is, for example, you obviously want to have a really good understanding in your market, right? What are competitors, what are the providers, what is their pricing, You need to understand that. And then again, what is your positioning in the marketplace? Back to that baby bottles, right? I guess people can buy baby bottle maybe $10 and maybe all the way to, I don't know, $80, $100, right? Each segment of the baby bottles have different kind of buyers.
Yeah.
So which one are you, right? Which segment are you in? And then obviously, if it's a physical product, you're gonna need to understand a whole 9 yard, whole lot of stuff, right? The production cost, the labor cost, and whatever required to produce that thing. Even if is a digital offers, you still need to think about the time, the efforts, and maybe the hire out team members or the staff or the contractors, all those, whatever the cost, and then ask yourself how much you need to make your cash flow so you can survive and thrive. So that's why I say it's a very big question. It really depends on where you are in your business. What do I mean is some business, let's say they are more established one, right? So they can afford to put into a big dollar amount upfront without even break even, or just to break even, it's fine. And then in the back end, because they can upsell stuff, right? That's a one kind of way to do it. Some other situation is, let's say, new people come on the scene, they cannot afford have a big investment upfront, so they need to do different way. They maybe have to try to get the cash in first, and then before they can think about something else. So when it comes to pricing, it's really depends on many factors. And actually, I was thinking I did a pricing workshop a while back. If you like, I think I can go to dig out a link to put in the show note if that serves your audience.
Not a problem. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. To continue this conversation, I want to ask, what inspired you to write the book Little Grace, a little girl called Grace, Little Girl Called Grace? What inspired you to write that book?
Well, I mean, the simple answer is God say so. And I was not willing to do it because it is a personal journey, and it was a very painful journey. And it's about my walk with the Lord and my story from when I was a little girl all the way to the stage when we still live in Las Vegas. But God has to allow a car accident happen. I was in this kind of tell you guys, as I say moments ago, right? My face is not perfect, just like everybody, right? When God asked me to write a book from the beginning, I say no. I refuse it. I say, Lord, no. I just couldn't. It was too painful, so I just couldn't to see that I can write a book. And I was delaying. And one day when I pick up my kids from schools when we live in Vegas, and we on the way drove home, and it's the same route every day. And about in the highway, all of a sudden there was, we were sandwiched. And praise the Lord that I was driving a big car. We have a big minivan then. So when that moment, I right away check my kids. They seems okay. I saw the liquid from the car went out. So was my own liquid. And, I saw that moment, it's just like you watch a movie, you should have see like different, scene. I saw will show up something like movie and picture in front of me, but it did not happen that way. I heard almost an audible voice say, you haven't finished your book yet. Right? So afterwards, I think I was during a 6 month of rehab from the car accident, and then I finished a book. So you ask me what inspired me? Well, God say write a book, and then afterwards, we have so many amazing stories from the readers after they read the book.
That's really great. That's really great. Thank God for that. And, and you keep mentioning through this interview that your faith, is not perfect. And I want to ask, how has your faith, through the ups and downs of business, through life, help you as an entrepreneur? How has your faith help you as an entrepreneur?
Just like in life, right? Because we all have ups and downs. And, it's very comforting to know that when I'm in the valley, and, I always say that's a moment of when we go through ups and downs in the entrepreneurial journey, the VOD, the valley of disappointment or valley of death, right? It's very comforting to know that I'm not alone. Although sometimes we feel that in those moments we are alone, right? Also, there are moments though, that you are in God's training camp, right? When you go through different things, you obviously not necessarily right there that moment, but afterwards you realize how much you have grown from that experience. And so I think faith for me, it's always accompanying with me in life or in business, in the ups and downs, and knowing that I'm not alone and God is always with me.
That's really great. And being that said, like just want to just being effectively be in business for a very long time. I want to ask this last question. And this is basically a opinion. What do you believe are important factors for achieving long-term success? Because you've been in business since 2008, and you look at a lot. Oftentimes, businesses don't last more than 3, 5 years. What would you contribute your success outside of God that you do? Is it the marketing? Is it the sales? Is it teams? What are things that you would say contribute to you having this long-term financial success?
I think it's very difficult to say. The reason why I still feel like everything is God's idea. Really, my business, it's how it got started, and in between we face so many different kind of journeys. If without God, I don't think I'm here speaking with you, and that is the truth. It might sound cliche, but it is. And I think if you guys ever check out my book, The Little Girl Called Grace, that we mentioned earlier, then you probably can more understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. And I think the other part, if really anything else, we can say, okay, I'm an action taker. I don't dwell in a place too long, no matter it's good or bad. But in that sense, for me, it's still God, because God created me this way, right? And I think surely when I was younger, I'm 55 years old now. So while I'm younger, like in my 20s, or when I childhood, 20s, 30s, those challenges what I have gone through surely help that in this journey. But again, that's because God was there. And so I'll be able to sustain until now.
And I want to ask, for those who may be interested in being involved in She Inherits your program, how can they get involved in your program?
I think in She Inherited company, that actually we about to have a new membership community coming up, and it's for female founders, for Christ Center female founders. So that we really passionate about to equip and empower uh, the female founders, especially you just get started in this journey. Because we really need more women come up and to really step out to do what God has asked them to do in the marketplace. So so if you are interested, you can connect with me anywhere, Kelly Baader, and in Instagram or in my website. And actually, oh, we have a wait list. It's kellybaader.com/founder. If you are interested, you can opt into the wait list. So we do prepare a lot of amazing perks for founders, for founding members. So yeah, you're welcome to do so.
And where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Being that you're at 55, where do you see yourself at 60 or 65 as an entrepreneur?
I don't know. I think we actually established this new company she inherited. It's purely again God's idea. I know that we built this company is to leave behind me. That's why my co-founder is my daughter, and we know that this company is will serve a whole lot more people even when I'm not on Earth anymore. And so I hope that answer your question. So my focus now is just establish this company, and then for my daughter, and then for the the new coming up, the new female founders.
I want to definitely say, thank you very much, Miss Kelly, for your time, for taking time out your day. If you could have any word of wisdom that you can share for someone who may have listened to this interview so far, heard your story, heard the different lessons and challenges that you had to overcome, what would you say to such person?
Uh, I don't dare to say it's wisdom, but I would say, as an experience, again, God is the source. The rest are resource. So no matter what you do, uh, make sure that you cling tight with God. Everything else, you can have that dunamis power, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead. You have that same power if you are willing to uh, really cling to with God tight, and then with a close relationship with Him. And that's for everything. It's for everything.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much, Miss Kelly. And for those who are listening, I hope you guys don't see another entrepreneur sharing this during the Wealth in Christ podcast. But I hope this inspires you and help you to go out there and follow your calling that God has called you to do. You're looking for a group of Christians who are working toward becoming financially free. Look no further and join the Pray Invest group on Facebook. And see you guys next week. And again, thank you, Miss Kelly Baader.